Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something that frankly feels like a superpower once you really get a handle on it. We're tackling how to align your natural rhythm with your workload. Specifically, how to match your tasks to your energy for maximum output.
That's right. It's interesting, isn't it? We spend so much time optimizing time, schedules, blocking, endless to-do lists. But maybe the biggest lever isn't just when you work, but the quality of your energy while you're doing it.
Exactly, it feels like the missing piece. And the core idea we kept coming across is that creative energy. It's not like an endless tap you just turn on. It's much more, well, organic, like a garden.
Mhm. A garden analogy works really well, actually. It needs care, different things at different times, and absolutely needs periods of rest to regenerate. You can't just keep harvesting, right?
You really can't push it too hard and you just end up with barren ground. Burnout. So, our mission in this deep dive is to give you the understanding and maybe more importantly, the practical steps to figure out your own energy landscape.
Yeah, learn which tasks fit best with which energy states, and crucially, how to build in recovery before you need it so you can sustain things.
It's about moving from just, managing tasks to really intelligently directing your energy. Better results, less burnout. Sounds good, right?
Definitely. And step one, the absolute foundation for all this is self-awareness. You have to understand your own personal energy patterns first.
Okay, let's unpack that. As we dug into this, a kind of framework emerged. Seems like there are roughly 4 key energy states most people cycle through, though obviously the timing, the intensity, that varies a lot person to person.
Right. Think of them maybe like gears you shift through.
Hmm.
And the highest gear, the one everyone's often chasing, is peak flow.
Yes, the zone. What does that actually feel like?
Well, it's that state where inspiration feels really high, your focus is just laser sharp, almost effortless. Time can feel a bit distorted. You look up, hours have gone by, but you were completely absorbed.
Yeah, deep engagement where things just seem to click.
Exactly. And when you're in that peak flow state, you want to use it wisely.
So what kind of tasks are best for that precious energy?
This is for your hardest hitters.
Yeah.
Your most valuable work. Think complex problem solving, generating those initial creative concepts when ideas are flowing freely, maybe making critical high stakes decisions, real innovation work, or those client interactions where you need to be incredibly sharp and intuitive.
So if you're a writer, it's drafting that tricky chapter. Designer, initial concepts, strategist, tackling that core challenge.
Precisely. And here's an interesting point about recovery in peak flow. It needs to be light. You don't want to totally pull yourself out.
Oh, right. So just light breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Quick 5-minute stretch, grab some water, maybe step outside for just a minute, enough to prevent getting stiff, but not so much you lose that intense focus.
Got it. Okay, moving down a gear, what's next?
That would be the steady state. This is probably where a lot of really good, consistent work gets done. You don't have that effortless magic of peak flow maybe, but you've got consistent output, reliable focus. It takes a bit more conscious effort, but it's solid.
This sounds like the workhorse state for a lot of people, the engine room. What kind of tasks fit here?
This is perfect for refining things. Maybe work started in peak flow, like content editing, working through client revisions, doing iterations on a design. Also important team communications that need sustained focus or dedicated skill practice. Steady, focused repetition works well here.
So editing the chapter you drafted, implementing the design feedback, that focused team meeting, makes sense.
And because it takes a bit more conscious effort, your recovery needs are a little more deliberate than in peak flow. Regular, scheduled pauses are pretty key here.
To stop that focus degrading into just scattered attention.
Exactly. Maybe a solid 10, 15-minute break every, say, couple of hours, something structured.
Okay, what happens when the energy really starts to dip lower?
Then you drift into low tide. You'll likely feel a noticeable shift. Motivation might drop off, attention feels more scattered, maybe harder to focus deeply. You might just feel a bit of general fatigue or mental fog creeping in.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Trying to force complex work here feels awful, like pushing a boulder uphill. What is this state good for then?
Well, it's actually perfect for necessary tasks that just don't need that intense focus or heavy creative listing. This is your time for admin work, finally tackling that email inbox, maybe doing some light organizing, preliminary planning, just outlining stuff, compiling research you've already gathered.
So simple objectives, lower pressure tasks.
Right, tasks where you're not making big decisions. And importantly, this state signals you need more significant recovery, not just a pause, but active recovery.
Active recovery, meaning?
Doing something genuinely restorative that helps shift your state, not just stopping work and, scrolling your phone, which can actually drain you more.
Good point. Which brings us to the last state, the one we ideally want to avoid hitting too often.
Right. Depletion. This is genuine exhaustion, significant resistance. Your capacity is just severely compromised. Even simple things feel overwhelming. Your brain feels like it's wading through mud.
Yeah, everyone recognizes that state, unfortunately. What can you possibly do effectively when you're there?
Honestly, very, very little that's productive. The advice is pretty clear. Reserve this state only for absolutely essential, minimal tasks, like maybe responding to one truly urgent email. Anything else is just digging the hole deeper. It's counterproductive.
And the recovery needed here isn't just a break.
No, it's a full-blown reset. You need to step away. Disconnect completely, let your system genuinely recharge. Pushing through depletion, that's a fast track to burnout.
Okay, so understanding these 4 states, peak flow, steady state, low tide, depletion, that's step 1. But how do you figure out your specific patterns? It's not the same for everyone.
Exactly, and this is where the really practical non-negotiable step comes in. You have to track your energy.
Right. This is where you become a scientist of yourself.
Hmm.
Gathering the data. The recommendation is a simple energy tracking log.
Yeah, super simple. Use a notebook, a spreadsheet, an app, whatever works for you. But the key things to log are pretty straightforward. Regularly through the day, maybe every couple of hours, or after a big task, you note the time,
Okay, time then.
your perceived energy level. Maybe a simple 1-10 scale, 1 being total depletion, 10 being peak flow.
Got it. 1 to 10. What else?
Your mental state, just a word or two: clear, foggy, focused, scattered, anxious, calm. And your physical state: energized, tired, restless, comfortable.
Mental, physical. And the last piece.
Crucially, the activities you were just doing, what were you working on in that last block of time?
Okay, let's paint a picture. Maybe 8:30 a.m., energy 8, clear, energized, planning the day.
Sounds like a good start. Then maybe 10:30 a.m., energy 9, deep focus, feeling good, deep work on that core project. That looks like peak flow territory.
Right. But then, say, 1:0 p.m., energy down to 6, a bit scattered, lunch break, then answered some team messages, maybe steady state starting to dip.
Could be. And maybe 3:0 p.m., energy 4, definitely foggy, hard to concentrate, tired, activities, admin tasks, sorting emails. That's clearly low tide setting in.
And maybe by 5:30 p.m., energy 3, exhausted, resistant, feeling drained, just winding down, couldn't focus. That's hitting depletion.
Exactly. And you do this consistently for, say, at least 2 weeks. It takes a bit of discipline, sure, but the insights, they're gold.
So what are you actually looking for in all that data after 2 weeks?
You're hunting for patterns. Are your peaks consistently in the morning? Or are you more of a night owl? When do those dips usually happen? Post-lunch, mid-afternoon slump? What specific activities seem to energize you? Which ones drain you faster? Do you see a link between skipping breaks and crashing later?
It's like creating your personal energy map.
Precisely. It takes the guesswork out. You stop trying to shoehorn yourself into some generic productivity system and start understanding your unique rhythm. And once you have that map, you can move from just tracking to actually designing your schedule to honor those patterns.
Yes. This isn't about being super rigid, but about structuring things smartly, leveraging those natural energy currents. The material mentioned frameworks like the wavelength week system.
Yeah, that's one example. The core idea behind systems like that is consciously assigning different types of work to different times based on your typical energy. So if your tracking shows Monday mornings are usually peak flow for you, that's when you schedule that really complex creative work.
And if, say, Thursday afternoons are reliably low tide.
Perfect time for clearing out that admin backlog you've been putting off. Use that lower energy state effectively. Maybe Tuesday, a steady state day, is for focused editing or collaborative sessions. Friday afternoon, often low tide, could be for planning next week, less demanding than creating this week.
It's designing based on your data. And crucially, it's not just about when you work, but baking in recovery.
Absolutely. Which leads to this really powerful idea, the energy banking protocol.
I love this concept. It totally flips how we usually think about rest, doesn't it?
It really does. Most people push until they're running on fumes. Then they rest, often because they crash. Energy banking is proactive. You make small, consistent deposits into your energy reserves before you hit empty, like saving up, so you have the bandwidth when you need it.
Like putting energy in the bank for a demanding day instead of always running on overdraft. And this recovery isn't just one big thing, right? It happens at different scales.
Exactly. First, there's micro-recovery. This should be frequent, woven right into your workflow, especially during intense focus like peak or steady state, maybe every 60 to 90 minutes.
And what does that look like? Super short.
Yeah, very short and simple. 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Stand up, stretch, move your body, get water or a healthy snack. Just step away from the screen, look out the window. Key thing is, physically and mentally shift gears for just a few moments. Break the pattern.
Got it. Just enough to prevent that slide. Then there's the bigger reset midday.
Right, the midday reset. This lines up with your lunch break, ideally, but it's more intentional than just eating at your desk. Aim for 30 to 60 minutes, if possible, completely away from your workspace. Get outside. Natural light is huge for your rhythm. Maybe some light movement, a short walk. And mindful eating, pay attention to your food, not work emails or news scrolls. It's a deliberate disconnection.
A proper refresh button for the afternoon, and then wrapping up the day.
That's the end of day recovery. It's not just shutting the laptop. It's having a deliberate ritual to signal the workday is over. Then engaging in things that help you shed the day's stress and truly disconnect.
Like what sort of things?
Physical activity is great. Helps process stress hormones. Spending time in nature, even if it's just a park nearby, and implementing what some call a digital sunset, setting a time when screens, especially work-related ones, go off, helps your mind unwind for sleep, creating that boundary.
Okay, so we've mapped our energy, we're structuring time, dunking recovery. Let's really nail down matching specific tasks to states, building on what we said earlier.
Right. Let's get specific. For that precious peak flow state, what do you need environment-wise, internally, and what tasks truly deserve it?
How do you protect that time?
You have to be ruthless. It demands a distraction-free zone. Silence, closed doors, notifications off. Internally, you need good reserves. Sleep, hydration, those micro breaks matter here. It often hits in the morning for many, so if your data shows that, schedule accordingly. And know what you're working on before you start. Don't waste peak flow deciding. Tasks. Complex problem solving, initiating hard projects, groundbreaking creative bursts, high-impact strategy, critical communications. Your A-plus work.
So clear desk, clear calendar, clear goal. Dive in when you feel sharpest.
That's the essence. Now, steady state. Requirements are a bit different. Focused demand is less intense, but needs sustaining. A focused environment helps, but maybe it can tolerate a bit more background buzz. Key is maintaining focus with regular breaks to fight fatigue. Timing is more flexible here, and having clear guidelines helps you refining, editing, communicating, practicing. The path is usually more defined.
Right, this is where you execute, polish, follow through.
Exactly. Then, low tide. You got to shift expectations, requirements here. Tasks with simple, clear objectives. Nothing ambiguous or needing complex thought. Ability to work in short bursts is useful, as focus might wander. Environment can be more relaxed, lower pressure. Think. Cleaning up digital files, organizing notes, handling routine emails, compiling research you already have, planning future simple tasks.
So instead of forcing writing when foggy, maybe organize the research for the writing. Smart.
That's exactly the kind of matching we're talking about. And finally, if you hit depletion state, the protocol is basically stop. Environment needs to allow disengagement. Internally, reserves are gone. Requirement. Only essential communications is unavoidable. Basic maintenance tasks needing zero thought. The primary requirement is immediate recovery. No creative demands, no pushing. It's a clear signal.
Yeah, acknowledging your brain and body just need a break and forcing it is actually harmful.
It really is. And that just underscores, again, how crucial recovery is. It's not optional, it's the engine. And it breaks down into physical and mental recovery.
Let's dig into those. Physical recovery sounds simple sleep, right? But it's more.
Oh yeah, much more. Integrating movement throughout the day, morning stretch, midday walk, evening wind down, weekend activities. Also environmental support. Getting natural light, fresh air breaks, and ergonomic setup to avoid strain. Connecting with nature, even briefly. And then the fundamentals. Solid sleep hygiene, nutrition that fuels you, staying hydrated, releasing tension, stretching, foam rolling, whatever works.
Tending the physical machine. What about mental recovery? That seems key for creative energy.
Absolutely critical. This is about giving your mind a real break. First, cognitive rest. Things like meditation or just allowing time for your mind to wander freely, not always trying to focus it. Reading for pleasure, something totally unrelated to work. Quiet reflection time without an agenda.
Letting your mind off the leash for a bit.
You got it. Then there's creative recovery. This is different from doing creative work. It's about refilling the well. Visiting an art gallery, listening to music just for joy, immersing yourself in nature to observe, consuming inspiring stuff without pressure to apply it now.
Consumption for inspiration, not for production. I like that distinction.
Exactly. And finally, social recovery. We're social beings. Supportive connection is incredibly restorative. Talk to people who uplift you. Connect with your creative community. Seek mentorship or just chat with peers. Even collaborative play or fun group stuff. It reduces stress, boosts mood.
Okay, this all sounds fantastic, but how does someone actually start? It feels like a pretty big overhaul.
It can feel that way, but you don't do it all at once. The strategy is phased. Start small.
Okay, break it down. What are the immediate actions, like next 24 hours?
Foundation first. Get that tracking template ready. Download one, make a simple one. Set up reminders on your phone, maybe every 2 hours, to log. Just based on your gut feeling, identify when you think your peak time might be tomorrow. And plan just one intentional recovery break, maybe one micro break, or commit to taking lunch away from your desk.
Okay, tools ready. First, small steps. Then, week 1, foundation.
Observation and experimenting. Really commit to those daily energy logs. Gather that data. Start noticing patterns without judging them yet. Try out 1 or 2 recovery practices consistently, like that 5-minute stretch break or the full lunch breakaway. Make small workspace tweaks based on what feels good or bad.
Tracking, testing. Got it. Week 2, restructure.
Now you act on the data. Based on your patterns from week 1, start actively aligning tasks to energy states. Put the hard stuff in your peak time, admin in your dip. Start scheduling recovery into your calendar. Block out time for breaks, your midday reset, that end-of-day ritual. Create environmental support, maybe better lighting, tidying up. And start setting some boundaries, maybe specific email checking times.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Week 3, refine.
Now you're living it. Test the schedule you designed. How does it actually feel? Is it working? Adjust timing, adjust recovery based on real experience this week. Keep tracking results. How's your energy? Is the task matching helping your focus or output?
Iterative. Test, learn, adjust. Okay, and week 4, integrate.
This is about making it stick, solidifying habits. Fine-tune based on week 3's refinements. Build these practices into routine so they feel natural, not like a chore. Maybe explore simple automation reminders, calendar blocking. Goal is consistency, so the system supports you without constant effort. And it doesn't stop there, right? Keep looking ahead. Set month 1 objectives. Establish the basic schedule. Build those recovery protocols. Create initial boundaries. Measure results. Then, quarterly goals. Refine based on more data, deepen recovery practices, maybe explore expanding capacity sustainably, schedule regular reviews.
That phased approach makes it feel way less daunting. But, life happens. People hit roadblocks. What are common challenges?
Oh, definitely. A big one is inconsistent energy. Your tracking doesn't show clear patterns. It feels random.
Yeah, what do you do then if your energy is all over the place?
First, track for longer, maybe a month. Patterns might emerge over a longer cycle. Second, look hard at external factors. Sleep consistency, diet, stress levels. Is the inconsistency the pattern signaling something else needs attention? Third, if variability is just your norm, build more flexibility into your schedule and lean even harder on having robust recovery practices ready to deploy whenever energy dips.
Okay, be flexible, investigate wider. What about deadline pressure? Feels impossible to take breaks then.
That's precisely why energy banking beforehand is so vital. Build buffer time into plans. If you are slammed, make strategic sacrifices, cut non-essentials, but try desperately not to cut all recovery. Even 5 minutes helps. And crucially, plan for significant recovery immediately after the deadline passes. Prevent the crash and burn. Plan the rebound.
Don't just survive it, recover from it. Makes sense. What about creative resistance? You're in low tide, but you have to create.
Prime time for smart matching. If you hit resistance in low tide, pivot. Do a low tide task related to the project, but less demanding. Organize notes, outline, brainstorm future ideas without pressure. Use minimal viable action, the tiniest possible step. Try accelerating recovery right then, take a longer break, walk outside, or pattern interrupt and do something totally different for 10 minutes to break the funk.
Use the energy you have, even if it's not ideal for the task. Smart. Lastly, external demands, meetings, requests, interruptions, messing with your flow.
Yes. Boundaries become non-negotiable here. Establish clear communication protocols, bash emails, set office hours. Protect your energy. Learn to say a polite no to non-essential drains during your peak times. And use schedule blocking fiercely. Protect that focus time and recovery time on your calendar. Communicate those boundaries clearly when needed.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what are the absolute core lessons here?
I'd say first, energy management isn't just nice to have, it's as vital as time management, maybe more so. You need the right fuel in the tank.
Second takeaway.
Recovery isn't weakness or a luxury. It's mandatory maintenance for sustainable performance and creativity. It's tending the garden.
Third.
Your system has to be yours, and it needs to be adaptable. Life changes, your system needs to flex too.
And finally.
Don't get overwhelmed. Start small. Consistent, small actions in tracking, matching tasks, and recovering proactively. They add up to big changes over time. Really, the goal is shifting how you think about energy, from this finite thing you just deplete to something renewable you cultivate for sustained inspiration, deep work, and, better output without burning out.
So here's a final thought for you listening right now. If managing energy is truly as crucial as managing time, how might rethinking just one task in your schedule this week based on your energy shift things for you?
Start small. Maybe just start tracking today. See what you discover.
Yeah, see what you discover might just change everything.